morning. Welcome to Beverly Unitarian Church Online Worship. I'm Judy Shader. I'm a worship associate. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation made up of children, youth, and adults of many different races, traditions, genders, sexual orientations, abilities, educations, and life experience. We celebrate a diversity of beliefs, striving always to make room for more. You are sacred. You are welcome here. Whatever your past or present is like, we invite you to walk into the future with us. Like other Unitarian Universalist congregations, we affirm 7 principles. These are not doctrine or dogma, but rather our shared values and moral guide. To learn more about these principles, check out uua.org. Our minister is the Reverend David Schwartz. But today, we are fortunate to have as our speaker, Dr. Jacob First. We especially welcome visitors and hope you'll stay for our Zoom coffee hour after the service. The link will be shared on the screen after this service. We look forward to the day that we can greet you in person. Although we remain physically distanced, we can stay connected. To get more involved, check out our Facebook page and our website. Contact the church office to sign up for our monthly newsletter and weekly Friday email blast, or to be connected to Reverend David for pastoral care. And now, let us join together in spirit and prepare our hearts and minds for worship. Surrender to Life by Gretchen Haley. Give up the fight for some other moment, for some other life than here and now. Give up the longing for some other world, the wishing for other choices to make, other songs to sing, other bodies, other ages, other countries, other stakes. Purge the past. Forgive the future. For each come too soon. Surrender only to this life, this day, this hour. Not because it does not constantly break your heart, because it also beckons with beauty, startles with delight. If only we keep waking up. This is the gift we have been given. These body clothes, this heartbreak, this pulse, this breath, this light, these friends, this hope. Here we remember ourselves, all a part of it all, giving thanks together. Come, let us worship.
Hi everybody, my name is Mark David Buckles and I'm excited to share one of my favorite hymns with you that you may already know. It's Peace Like a River. And one of the things that I love about this song, this hymn, is that um, it's not all happy. It acknowledges the many things that we're feeling and that we can have complicated feelings. We can hold pain and joy at the same time, and that's okay, and even that can be worth celebrating, that we feel those things. So um, I love that we sing about having peace like a river and pain like an arrow and strength like a mountain. And in the end, we return to this idea of peace, that we always have the ability to tune back into that peace like a river in our souls. And when I think of a river, I think of the fact that no matter what, it just keeps going. I hope you'll sing Peace Like a River with me. If you don't know it, I think you'll pick it up really quickly. It goes like this. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like the mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Thank you, everyone.
Today's reading comes from The Name of the Wind, a novel by Patrick Rothfuss. Tecum explains there are two types of secrets. There are secrets of the mouth and secrets of the heart. Most secrets are secrets of the mouth, gossip shared and small scandals whispered. These secrets long to be let loose upon the world. A secret of the mouth is like a stone in your boot. At first, you're barely aware of it. Then it grows, irritating, then intolerable. Secrets of the mouth grow larger the longer you keep them, swelling until they press against your lips. They fight to be set free. Secrets of the heart are different. They are private and painful, and we want nothing more than to hide them from the world. They do not swell and press against the mouth. They live in the heart, and the longer they are kept, the heavier they become. Tecum claims it is better to have a mouthful of poison than a secret of the heart. Any fool will spit out poison, he says, but we hoard these painful treasures. We swallow hard against them every day, forcing them deep inside us. There they sit, growing heavier, festering. Given enough time, they cannot help but crush the heart that holds them.
Please join me in reciting our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
This is a story about a famous research scientist who had made several very important medical breakthroughs. He was being interviewed by a newspaper reporter who asked him why he thought he was able to be so much more creative than the average person. What set him so far apart from others? He responded that, in his opinion, it all came from an experience with his mother that occurred when he was about 2 years old. He'd been trying to remove a bottle of milk from the refrigerator when he lost his grip on the slippery bottle and it fell, spilling its contents all over the kitchen floor, a veritable sea of milk. When his mother came into the kitchen, instead of yelling at him, giving him a lecture, or punishing him, she said, "Robert, I have rarely seen such a huge puddle of milk. Well, the damage has already been done. Would you like to get down and play in the milk for a few minutes before we clean it up?" Indeed, he did. After a few minutes, his mother said, "You know, Robert, whenever you make a mess like this, eventually you have to clean it up and restore everything to its proper order. So, how would you like to do that? We could use a sponge, a towel, or a mop. Which do you prefer?" He chose the sponge, and together they cleaned up the spilled milk. His mother then said, "You know, what we have here is a failed experiment in how to effectively carry a big milk bottle with two tiny hands. Let's go out in the backyard and fill the bottle with water and see if you can discover a way to carry it without dropping it." The little boy learned that if he grasped the bottle at the top near the lip with both hands, he could carry it without dropping it. This renowned scientist then remarked that it was at that moment that he knew he didn't need to be afraid to make mistakes. Instead, he learned that mistakes were just opportunities for learning something new, which is, after all, what scientific experiments are all about. Even if the experiment doesn't work, we learn something valuable from it.
This meditation is by Laura Mancuso. My commitments to myself. I take care of myself first because I'm deserving of exquisite care. I take care of myself to maintain the capacity to help others. I move and stretch my body every day. I spend time in nature, attuning my senses to the earth's wisdom. I ration my daily exposure to the news. I identify and access credible sources of information. I protect myself from becoming overwhelmed by information about the pandemic. I pace myself. I sit with the reality of uncertainty and impermanence and allow it to temper my desire for control. I listen without judgment to others' reactions, which may be different from mine. I forgive myself and others when stress brings out our shadow selves. I feel fear fully when I am fearful. I experience sadness fully when I'm sad. I allow anger fully when I am angry. I relish joy fully when I am joyful. I seek out healthy pleasures and indulge in them without guilt. I remind myself that feelings are transient states that move through me. They do not last, and they do not define me, nor do my thoughts. I balance my drive for self-improvement with compassionate acceptance of myself, as I am right now. I initiate contact with loved ones to let them know I hold them in my heart. I seek out, with increased sensitivity, those who are most vulnerable. If possible, I share my resources with those who need help to survive. When possible, I move away from people, situations, and experiences that do not serve my highest good. I strengthen my connection to my sources of spiritual strength so that I continue to be replenished. I acknowledge the nearness of death as a key motivator for living a full life. I pray for the suffering of all beings to cease. I grieve my losses and celebrate my successes. I remain open to new ways of being, surprising sources of joy, and unanticipated discoveries every day.
This is not the sermon you were meant to hear. I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Sermons have a life of their own, and despite my firm intention otherwise, come out the way they will. The sermon I planned to deliver was all about how calculus can help us better understand our behavior and provide some relief from our mistakes. Unfortunately, the more I wrote, the more it read like a justification for my mistakes. Clearly, the sermon wanted somewhere else to go. I've made mistakes, more than I can count, even though I probably don't remember most of them. I'm guessing some of you may have too. My mistakes run the gamut from I really shouldn't have had that second piece of cake to I cheated on my first wife. To make sure I was talking about the right thing, I asked a friend what he considered a mistake to be. His response was, I thought, quite illuminating. A decision and subsequent action that, in hindsight, was not the better option. These few words contain, I think, some significant wisdom. A mistake is a decision followed by subsequent action. An accident, for example, is not a mistake, as there is no decision. Mental debates about what is right to do or not to do are not mistakes if we take no action. Mistakes also only exist in hindsight. This was actually part of my original sermon. The integral is a way in which we can evaluate some quantity, like perhaps behavioral goodness, over a length of time, and then examine, over time, the effect of that quantity. In other words, it is impossible to know we are making a mistake at the moment we make it. This is fundamental to the integrity of our thoughts and actions. Each of us is, at any moment, doing the best that we can do. This was also part of my original sermon. The derivative allows us to measure some quantity, like perhaps behavioral goodness, at a precise moment in time. So there you have my original sermon, measuring the rightness of our actions at the moment we execute them and measuring them over the scope of a lifetime. There was a lot more math in the original sermon, but it turned out to be both not terribly interesting and very much a justification for bad behavior. Where then does this sermon go? As much as I would like to have a justification for all the mistakes I've made, I don't think that I actually deserve or have earned one. I have hurt people, including myself and people very dear to me, and I am responsible for that hurt. No amount of mathematics will take away the pain I've caused others, or for that matter, the guilt that I feel for having caused that pain. My friend also warned me that no sermon should be about, and I quote, the minister figuring out his own shit. I agree with this wholeheartedly, except that I'm always figuring out my own shit, and I hope that this sermon might be helpful to you in figuring out yours. What do we do with the pain and the guilt? I find that on occasion I have useful advice to offer my children, and what I've said to them is, you can't fix the mistakes you've made because we can't go back in time. But what you can do is admit to having made them and do what you can to improve the situation. This is the sermon that came out of my misguided attempts to justify and explain away my mistakes. Admitting your mistakes is often the hardest part, and so anything that can make that easier is critical. In this way, I do think that calculus is helpful, both the derivative and the integral. The derivative reminds us that we never knowingly, in the moment, make mistakes. At every moment, taken individually, we are being our best people. We certainly can, and often are, be wrong, but we can't know that in the moment. If you do know that your actions are wrong in the moment and act anyway, see me after this service for a special sermon I'll provide for you alone. The integral encourages us to view our actions over the long haul and to assess the mistake in a larger context. It is also sometimes helpful to see both the derivative and the integral. Yes, I messed that up horribly, but over the arc of my lifetime, I've done some things well. If it makes it easier to admit your own mistakes, take it. Do not make the mistake, my original sermon, of making the integral excuse the derivative. You are a good person and you make mistakes. In fact, you can only make mistakes because you are a good person. If you are a bad person, your mistakes could only benefit the world. With good people, unfortunately, mistakes all too often become secrets of the heart. Spit out the poison and do not let them crush your soul. Once we have admitted our mistakes, we can then make recompense. Of course, sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can't clean up the milk and make everything as it once was. Sometimes we let that stone sit in our heart too long. Making amends has become impossible in any practical sense of the word. Too much time has passed. The distance has become too great. People pass on. All is not lost yet, for you still can make some kind of amends. Look for ways that allow you to become a better person for having made the mistake. It is the case that we as people learn almost nothing from success. It is failure and mistakes that teach us and make us stronger, better people. Eating that second piece of cake was a mistake in that I suffered for it, but it also taught me that I can't eat that much cake anymore, and that makes me a healthier person. Being unfaithful to my first wife taught that I would never enter another relationship in which there was that danger. While it is the case that I cannot, in any practical sense, make amends to my first wife, I have become a person who will never have to make those amends to his second wife. Sometimes, however, even with the best of intentions, we make the same mistake twice. Alexander Hamilton wrote, "A well-adjusted person is one who makes the same mistake twice without getting nervous." My father once told me, while attributing the phrase to Ben Franklin, "A wise man is one who's made every mistake twice." I've actually never be able to link that quote to Ben Franklin, and I suspect that my father may have been dispensing his own wisdom. Regardless of who spoke it originally, it is worth listening to. In fact, making a mistake twice is just another kind of mistake, and the best thing we can do is let it bring us closer to wisdom. Unfortunately, the greatest danger in not learning from our mistakes comes from the same direction as not admitting our mistakes in the first place, letting the lack of the possibility of atonement punish us. Just as letting the secret sit too long in our heart poisons us, not admitting to any atonement will poison us. Do not take on that burden. There is always the possibility of atonement, to learn from our mistakes, and to allow our mistakes to create in us better people.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. It is grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Oh, when this flesh and heart shall fail, and life begins to cease, I shall travel through that shadowed vale with steady joy and peace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see.
This chalice flame is extinguished, but may the light and warmth of this service and our community remain with each of us this week.
Wow, that was hard. Not writing the sermon, although that was hard too. Delivering the sermon without being able to see your faces was hard. You are all beautiful, wonderful people, and I miss seeing you, hearing you, being with you. We are humans, imperfectly created and moving imperfectly through the world. Do not let your mistakes become secrets of the heart. Admit to the things you have done wrong and learn from them to become ever closer to the divine. Thank you.
Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. There is no hell to fear, no judgment day drawing near. Trust that in the voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race, it's about heart and faith, living a life